Prime Minister Hsien says it's important for Japan and China to take a longer-term perspective and work towards stabilizing relations. He made this point during a dialogue session at an international conference in Tokyo, where the issue of regional stability took center stage. Imelda Saad reports.
Prime Minister Hsien was the keynote speaker at the conference organized by Nikkei with the theme The Future of Asia. It was attended by politicians, business leaders and academics from the region. Several questions centered on the stability of Asia with the rise of China. This against the backdrop of the ongoing territorial dispute between Japan and China over the mineral-rich Senkakus or Diaoyus Islands in the East China Sea.
It's difficult to make dramatic moves now because your relations with China are currently on a rocky spot. But I think it's important to take a longer-term perspective and work towards stabilizing the relations and then over time restoring them back to some normal and constructive path.
Mr. Lee noted that every country in the region benefits from China's prosperity and progress, but he added China too has to see it in its own interest to develop in a peaceful way.
I think the leaders understand this. If you watch what they say to themselves, they often remind themselves that it is necessary for China to be a benign power and not to repeat the mistakes of previous powers which have tried to succeed through force of arms.
Concerns were again raised over Japan's relations with its neighbors, which are fraught with historical baggage over what happened during World War II. The audience was captivated by the Prime Minister's stories of his own personal experience.
In the 1960s, there was a period when we discovered the mass graves where the civilians had been massacred and buried in Singapore. There's an outcry. I remember the day because I saw them coming to dig up the graves because it was next to my school. There was a big outcry. I think the Japanese government made an apology and donated some money, and we built a memorial. So between Singapore and Japan, the chapter is closed. I think with other countries in Asia, you have not reached that point. Certainly with China, you are nowhere near that point. With Korea, you have not reached that point.
On the back of renewed optimism in the Japanese economy, Mr. Lee called on Japan to deepen its strategic engagement with Southeast Asia and the wider region. There was a note of confidence in Mr. Lee's speech. He said countries are striving for prosperity and they're also working on creating new regional institutions to maintain a peaceful order even as the strategic balance shifts. So Mr. Lee said the future is bright in Asia. Imelda Saad, Channel News Asia, Tokyo, Japan.